Beneath Liverpool's vibrant streets lies a darkness that never sleeps, whispers in the fog, shadows that watch, and a city that claims those who wander too far. Tonight, we unravel a tale of terror that will haunt you long after the lights go out. Before we dive into this spine-chilling story, hit that subscribe button to join our community of thrill seekers. Give us a like if you love a good scare, drop a comment with your own creepy tales, and share this video with friends who dare to explore the unknown. Let's get started. The fog clung to Liverpool's cobbled streets like a shroud, muffling the distant hum of the Mersey River. It was past midnight, and the city felt abandoned, save for the faint glow of streetlights flickering through the mist. Sarah, an American student studying abroad, hurried along Bold Street, her sneakers scuffing against the uneven pavement. She'd stayed too late at the library, lost in research about the city's darker history, tales of old tunnels, forgotten plagues, and whispers of things that lingered in the shadows. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, but she ignored it, pulling her jacket tighter against the damp chill. The pubs had emptied hours ago, and the usual chatter of late-night stragglers was gone. All she could hear was her own breathing and the soft tap of her footsteps. Then, something else. A low, rhythmic scraping like metal dragging across stone, echoing from somewhere behind her. Sarah quickened her pace, her heart thudding. The sound grew louder, closer, as if it were following her. She glanced back but saw nothing, just the fog swirling thicker, swallowing the streetlights. The air felt heavy, pressing against her chest, and a faint smell like damp earth and something sour filled her nose. She turned onto a side street, hoping to lose whatever was trailing her, but the scraping followed, relentless, now joined by a faint whisper. Her name, barely audible, carried on the wind. She broke into a run, her breath hitching as she darted toward the Anglican cathedral, its Gothic silhouette looming through the fog. The whispers grew into a chorus, overlapping voices, some pleading, others angry, all calling her name. She stumbled onto the cathedral grounds, the massive stone structure offering no comfort. The scraping stopped, but the silence was worse, thick with anticipation. At the edge of the graveyard, she saw it, a figure tall and impossibly thin, standing motionless under a gnarled tree. Its face was obscured, but its eyes glinted like wet glass, fixed on her. Sarah froze, her legs refusing to move. The figure didn't approach, but the ground beneath her feet began to tremble. A low rumble like the city itself was waking. The whispers surged, now inside her head, telling her to stay, to join them, to become part of Liverpool's hidden veins. She bolted, sprinting toward the cathedral's doors, praying they were unlocked. The figure didn't chase her, but she felt its gaze, heavy and unyielding, as the whispers clawed at her mind. The doors were open, and she stumbled inside, collapsing on the cold stone floor. The voices stopped, replaced by the hollow echo of her own gasps. When morning came, Sarah left the cathedral, shaken but alive. The city was awake, bustling with people, the fog gone. She told no one what happened, afraid they'd think she was crazy, but as she walked back to her dorm, she noticed something carved into the pavement where she'd first heard the scraping, a jagged symbol, old and worn, like it had been there for centuries. She never walked Bold Street alone again, but at night, when the wind carried whispers, she swore she could still hear her name. Sarah's days in Liverpool took on a jagged edge after that night. The city, once vibrant with its music and history, now felt like a maze of secrets, its streets watching her. She avoided Bold Street, taking longer routes to uni, but the feeling of being followed never left. At night, her dreams were haunted by the thin figure under the tree, its glinting eyes burning into her. She'd wake gasping, the sour earth smell lingering in her dorm room, though the windows were always shut tight. She tried to focus on her studies, burying herself in books about Liverpool's past, its underground tunnels, its cholera-ridden 19th century, its forgotten burial grounds. The more she read, the the more she felt the city wasn't just old, but alive, its history pulsing beneath the pavement. One crumbling text mentioned a watcher of the Mersey, a spectral guardian tied to the city's darkest moments, said to claim those who lingered too long in its shadows. The description matched her memory of the figure, too tall, too still, with eyes that saw too much. One evening, desperate for answers, Sarah confided in her classmate Tom, a local with a knack for ghost stories. They met at a quiet cafe near Sefton Park, the kind of place where the walls were older than her hometown in Ohio. Tom listened, his face paling as she described the scraping, the whispers, the symbol carved in the stone. "That's no urban legend," he said, voice low. "That symbol, it's tied to the old tunnels. They say it marks places where the Watcher binds souls to the city. You don't see it unless it's chosen you." Sarah laughed it off, nerves fraying, but Tom's eyes were serious. He told her about the tunnels beneath Liverpool, a warren of passages from the 1800s, used for everything from smuggling to hiding bodies during plague outbreaks. Some said they were cursed, sealed off because workers vanished or went mad. "If you saw the Watcher," Tom warned, "it's not done with you. It'll keep coming until you face it, or it takes you." That night, against her better judgment, Sarah couldn't resist. Armed with a flashlight and Tom's reluctant directions, she found an old grate near the docks, half hidden behind rusted crates. The symbol from Bold Street was etched into the metal, faint but unmistakable. Her hands shook as she pried it open, revealing a narrow shaft descending into darkness. The air was thick with that same sour, earthy stench, and the faint scrape of metal echoed below. She climbed down, the tunnel walls slick with moss, and something that felt alive under her fingers. The whispers returned, louder now, a cacophony of voices begging, cursing, weeping, her name woven into their chorus. Her flashlight flickered, casting jagged shadows that moved when they shouldn't. At the tunnel's end, she found a chamber, its walls carved with thousands of symbols like the one she'd seen. In the center stood the Watcher, its form sharper now, gaunt, cloaked in tattered black, its face a void except for those glinting eyes. "You've come," it said, its voice a thousand voices scraping inside her skull. "The city claims its own." Sarah's legs buckled, but she forced herself to stand, heart pounding. "I'm not yours," she spat, though her voice trembled. The Watcher tilted its head as if amused, and the ground shook again, harder this time. The symbols on the walls glowed faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. She turned to run, but the tunnel seemed to stretch, the exit impossibly far. The Watcher didn't move, but its presence filled the space, heavy and suffocating. The voices screamed now, telling her to stay, to join the city's endless memory. Sarah clutched her flashlight like a lifeline, its beam cutting through the dark. She didn't know how she made it out. Time blurred, her legs moving on instinct, but she emerged at the docks, collapsing as dawn broke over the Mersey. The grate was sealed when she checked the next day. No trace of the symbol. Tom swore she'd imagined it, but his eyes avoided hers. Sarah left Liverpool a week later, unable to shake the feeling that the city was still watching. Back in Ohio, she tried to move on, but sometimes in the quiet of night, she'd hear a faint scraping, smell damp earth, and feel the pull of a city that never let her go. Liverpool, perched on the banks of the Mersey River, is a city where history breathes through every cobblestone, dock, and crumbling wall. Known today for its Beatles legacy and vibrant culture, its past is a tapestry of triumph, tragedy, and whispers of the uncanny. A perfect backdrop for tales like The Watcher of the Mersey. Let's peel back the layers of this port city's history to uncover the shadows that linger. Liverpool's story begins in earnest in the 17th century, though it was founded in 1207 by King John as a modest fishing village. By the 1700s, it transformed into one of the world's busiest ports, fueled by the transatlantic trade. Ships carried goods, people, and darker cargo. Liverpool was a hub of the slave trade, with over 1.5 million enslaved Africans passing through its ships between 1700 and 1807. The wealth built grand Georgian buildings, but the cost stained the city's soul. Stories persist of restless spirits tied to the docks, where cries are said to echo on foggy nights, perhaps fueling the legend of the Watcher, a spectral figure bound to the city's guilt. Liverpool, perched on the banks of the Mersey River, is a city where history breathes through every cobblestone, dock, and crumbling wall. Known today for its Beatles legacy and vibrant culture, its past is a tapestry of triumph, tragedy, and whispers of the uncanny, a perfect backdrop for tales like The Watcher of the Mersey. Let's peel back the layers of this port city's history to uncover the shadows that linger. Liverpool's history is a collision of human ambition and suffering, its streets layered with stories of survival and loss. The tunnels, the graves, the river, all pulse with an energy that feels alive, as if the city remembers every soul it's claimed. For Sarah, a stranger drawn into its depths, Liverpool was more than a place. It was a presence, its history a trap waiting to spring.